All right, so the Hell in a Cell match. Now, going into this, I didn't give a shit. I didn't want to see it because I didn't really want to see a rematch of last year, and I didn't think Hell in a Cell would really matter. Now, I'm going to jump ahead here. Hell in a Cell really didn't matter because it wasn't much of a Hell in a Cell match. You take the cell out of that, and it's still the same exact match. They didn't do anything really with the cell whatsoever. So that was just let's write this match down as we'll block their view, and that's really all the cell did. But the entrances again, Triple H's entrance. Good that it was his actual theme and not some stupid song. And then, of course, they had to do a stupid song anyway, so that pissed me off.
Yep.
But that little gazebo thing that he walked out of, it was stupid.
During
Now
the
we know where
Divas
the
match,
power budget went.
everybody watched the construction of that little thing.
uh, Undertaker's entrance, normal entrance, didn't seem like they added anything extra to it, did they? That I didn't say? Or
More fire than normal, maybe.
hmm, very underwhelming. But
Did anyone hear the Super Shredder chants?
oh, I didn't hear that.
Super Shredder. It was hilarious. I was sitting there watching this, and then on Twitter it was all blowing up. They're like, "Oh my God, Super Shredder just came out! It's Super Shredder Taker!"
Did anyone notice that they didn't even use the cage?
Yeah, they didn't. It was pointless. But they did waste a whole fucking what, like a minute and a half lowering it. They
Yeah.
couldn't have done a
Yeah,
commercial during this time.
Um,
No.
I still have no idea where were they actually hanging it from? Was it where like the Titantron,
Yeah, underneath
players
that
were?
square.
Great
Yeah.
colleague
Yeah,
held it up.
or did it like fit perfectly in there or something like that? Like I was just
Yeah.
like, because all of a sudden you just see it coming down, and like before that I just had no idea where they were hanging it, so it's like, oh, I kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah,
But
they were hiding it with those monitors.
Hmm.
yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, that's the only possible place that could have been hanging it from. But yeah, I could have swore they went to the cage like maybe once or twice the whole match. Like maybe like throw your opponent into the cell wall and then continue brawling on the outside. But there wasn't really a whole lot of, you
They
know,
threw
Mostly all the action took place in the center of the ring.
they
yeah.
threw
yeah.
the weapons at the cage and they bounced back. I mean, you protected the audience. That's about what you did.
That's just, I mean, that annoyed the hell out of me more than anything else. The whole lowering of the cage here, because why did they feel the need to throw? What was it, Metallica?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
did this need a fucking theme song? I
Well,
can't even
didn't he?
understand the
Fucking
goddamn words.
Kane,
Well,
go
usually for
insane.
well, when does a cell need its own entrance? Usually when, the participants are coming to the match, it's already like lowered and they
Right.
walk to the cells when it's already lowered. But apparently
They should have
this,
had Titantron for it as well. That would
yeah,
have
it,
been
it might
great.
as well because it did get its own entrance. I mean, Taker, Triple H, Shawn, they all get their entrances, but so does the cell.
And that
Uh,
out of all of the times that they ran commercials and bullshit promos, they couldn't have done that during the promo for Hell in a Cell. They had to
There we
eat up
go.
even more time. That time right there, that it was longer to lower the cell than the Daniel Bryan match.
God, don't
So
remind us.
so that was just such bullshit and it pissed me off so much because that's not the way you start off a match like that, especially when this is coming after what, 4 or 5 matches that have already been underwhelming. So you want to start off by wasting even more time by doing that. It infuriated the hell out of me. And then the match itself starts, and it's a very slow start. I hated the first half of this match. It was
The
just shit.
pacing for the entire Mania event was very slow because you were saying that to me during the chat, Tony. That was very slow and sluggish.
Mhm.
And a lot of the matches were like that. They took a lot of time to start.
It seemed like if
And
everybody would have partied the night before and just didn't have the energy or something.
yeah,
But it clearly wasn't just that because the booking was so awful.
yeah.
So everybody
And
was just off.
but also the fact is the match was more of a storytelling type match. It wasn't really as physical as it was last year, which no one expected because you could tell that Taker was hurt, that he couldn't really as move as much as he usually does. And they were sort of working around that because you noticed that Shawn was going from person to person, attempting to sort of bring order. but then the match totally disintegrated into Triple H and Taker literally pummeling one another, and Shawn trying to get the other guy off the other guy, sort of thing. So it didn't do what it did last year, but it gave another element to the feud, which is on its last legs. To tell you the truth.
Hopefully, it's done.
Yeah,
I don't want to see any more between that. I mean, even though a triple threat between the three would be interesting, I don't want to see it. I want to see. Well, now that Lesnar's back, I wouldn't mind seeing Undertaker versus Lesnar. But we'll talk about the Lesnar stuff. But yeah, the amount of times during this match that things just kept being repeated and the slow start and everything like that, it was just killing me. I mean, how many times did we need to hear "you ended" or "I will" that kind of thing? At least like 10 times during the match that was said, and they had to repeat the Triple H beats down Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels tells him to knock it off. And then later on, Undertaker does that to Triple H, and it's the same exact thing. And this whole feud has just been let's repeat things over and over and over again. Was that as
yeah.
frustrating in the crowd where you can't even hear the announcers or anything like that, or was it just from my perspective? What like the
I think
electricity kill it, or
the crowd was really into it. The crowd came to life for this match, and my favorite part was watching Chuck, a hardcore Taker fan, and Dane, a hardcore Triple H fan, down below me interacting with each other, and Chuck turning around and flipping off me and Corbin when Taker won, because we were like hoping and praying that Taker would lose just to watch that grown man cry. And I mean, like literally, the crowd was really into this match. I remember being really into this match, and it's probably because the fact you really couldn't see what the hell was going on.
so you're just cheering out of blindness?
Basically, I mean, everybody was watching the screens because the cage was horrible position, and when it comes to the team matches later, when we talk about it, the same thing. You had these friggin' huge guys around the ring, Great Khali on our side, and you couldn't see into the damn ring, so you watched the screen. The crowd, like I said, was on the seats. Every pin, they were going crazy. When Shawn came out of nowhere with that super kick, because it looked like it came out of nowhere, the crowd was on the edge of the seats and screaming. It was the energy returned. Like a WrestleMania energy was there all of a sudden.
Yeah, the last half of this match, or well, more so the last quarter of the match, uh, that actually was WrestleMania worthy. Everything else before that, literally everything else on the card before that, didn't match up at all. And it was, to me, at this point, it was too little too late, but at least it was kind of like hopeful that maybe from then on we would go good. But then, of course, we had some more dip downs and everything like that. But uh, so all in all, that last quarter I thought was sort of the highlight of the whole pay per view. But still, I wouldn't say that this is match of the year. And if everybody starts talking and bitching to me about it at the end of the year when I'm doing the awards, I'm telling you right now, I'm not giving this match of the year.
Mm-mm.
There's no way this is winning it for me.
Good
Yeah, a lot
match,
of
but
guys
not
were
match of the year.
a lot of guys on Twitter were overhyping this a lot. They were like, "Oh my god, bated breath," and this match was so amazing. And I didn't see it. I felt that it paled in comparison to last year's match.
I was happy they brought
Truthfully,
JR out, even though I couldn't hear him.
Yeah.
yeah, no, he was good. He's the one of the things that made the match good on commentary. And with Shawn Michaels doing the refereeing, he was literally. I compared the match to sort of Lesnar versus Goldberg in terms that the referee was the one of the main components that made the match work.
Mm-hmm.
If he wasn't there, the match would have sucked.
Definitely.
Yeah,
So everybody's in agreement about this for the most part. Anything
yeah.
else to touch upon?
Yeah, I
Right?
think we pretty well. I enjoyed it a lot. Probably more than you guys did. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just more of a mark and easier to please. I don't know, but
Maybe you weren't having
again,
as bad of a day as we were.
yeah, maybe. But I will agree that Sean's element in the match really elevated it to something more special than it probably should have been,
Definitely the highlight.
and for sure. And although really, I thought the DX combo was a pretty nice spot.
Yeah.
Um, It was a pretty cool falls finish, and you guys touched upon a lot of stuff about it. I totally agree for the most part.
If you would have asked me my opinion 5 minutes after the match, it would have been the greatest match that have ever happened to any man to see in front of his eyes, because at that moment in that stadium, it was amazing. Now I can reflect on it. It wasn't that great.
All right, well, part 8, we're going to talk about the general manager feud, Team Johnny against Team Teddy. So check out that coming right now.
Holla, holla, holla.